Well, the Guantanamo protest comes at the end of a pretty rough week for U.S. President Barack Obama and his administration. Firstly, you have accusations of avoiding tough questions over last year's attack, which killed the U.S. ambassador to Libya. This was followed by a tax scandal in which the IRS was seen to be targeting conservative political groups. And then you have revelations the Justice Department seized phone records belonging to reporters from the Associated Press. So how has Obama handled it, and how much damage might have been done? To help us answer these questions, I'm joined by Jason Johnson, a political science professor at Hiram College in Atlanta. Good to have you with us. And so a great deal of commentary and criticism at home for President Obama. He seems to be embroiled in one controversy after another this week. What is the potential political significance of all of this?
There is none in the most important political sense in the world, which is elections. You got to think about it. Barack Obama just got reelected last November. He is set in office. He is not going to be impeached. He is not going to lose that much in the electoral sense, which is the most important thing for American politicians. And the midterm elections for Congress are 18 months away. So ultimately, when the rubber really hits the road, this doesn't have that many serious consequences for Obama, but for now, we're going to have sort of a tempest in a teapot as political leaders in the city fight back and forth.
But, you know, that's exactly why I use the word potential, because as you say, you do have some elections 18 months away. And I got to say, you look at some of, what we've had this week. If you break it down, you take the IRS, the federal tax agency, they have been accused of targeting conservative groups. If this continues to escalate, we could be looking at a serious abuse of power that is politically driven. Yes, the president says it's completely outrageous, but on the other hand, there are some serious questions as to how and why only right-wing groups were targeted.
Well, it's not true that only right-wing groups were targeted. In fact, some of the few groups that were actually denied were Democratic and liberal groups, but also there are two sides to this. This is not new. This happens in the Obama administration, this happened in the Bush administration, and this happened in the Clinton administration, and most Americans hate the IRS anyway. So the likelihood that this would cause long-term problems for Obama is pretty minimal unless we find out that this actually ended at his desk. And as of right now, it doesn't appear that anyone in his administration was directly responsible for sending the IRS after anyone.
Yeah, but what about the controversy over the seizure of journalists' phone records? I mean, again, this was done without any explanation from the Justice Department. Usually in these circumstances, the news organization should have a chance to challenge the subpoena. That wasn't allowed to happen either. I mean, it just,
right.
It just shows a somewhat aggressive tactic going on here.
That is probably the worst thing in all of these controversies, because that will actually affect Barack Obama's relationship with the press, which has never been particularly fantastic. There's always been sort of a tense relationship between any White House and the press. And so I really do think that the Justice Department went over the line. But unfortunately, and I think this is something that Americans have to come to grips with, this is the America that we've purchased since 9/11. The U.S. Congress and the Senate and the president have allowed an aggressive expansion of executive power in the United States that allows these violations to happen. So unfortunately, what the AP suffered from isn't illegal in the United States right now. And that's the larger problem with this, that what he did, while it's against norms, it's unfortunately
Jason,
not illegal
I've got to say,
uncommon.
These are not the values, though, that President Barack Obama has claimed to promote with his administration. When you put all these controversies together, the common thread seems to be a lack of honesty in the way his administration, the White House, is communicating with the American people. Does that not risk undermining their trust if these scandals continue to escalate and then eventually affect Democrats in 18 months' time?
I actually don't really think so, and here's the reason why. If you step outside of Washington, D.C., if you look at the average American in the United States, whether or not they're Republicans or Democrats, these aren't the issues that people are going to care about in 18 months. The average American is concerned about what the impact of Barack Obama's health care bill will be. They're wondering how that's going to affect their taxes, how that's going to affect their bills, and people are concerned about unemployment. Outside of Washington, D.C., when you go to the Midwest, when you go to the West Coast, Benghazi and the IRS and the AP, they're not the things that Americans are particularly concerned about. And that's one of the reasons why I say, while these things are bad and while they demonstrate some mistakes and some serious incompetence on the part of the administration, the long-term consequences as far as voters are still very minimal unless these controversies drag on for months.
Healthcare and the economy will have to be a conversation for another time. Thanks so much. Jason Johnson, political science professor at the Hiram College in Atlanta. So